Okay, this one hits a little close to home for me. There are fucking clowns terrorizing the streets, stalking people with knives, and wreaking havoc in general. People are fucking terrified to step outside their fucking door. Schools in my area are sending warning letters to parents and other residents of the school district. There have even been clown sightings 20 minutes from my door. This great clown panic, as it has been dubbed, all started outside Greenville, South Carolina in August of this year, 2016. If you're looking to be a clown this Halloween, you are probably shit out of luck. This is not only because when shopping for a clown costume, you're not going to find one anywhere. Stores are pulling them from their shelves. There are no clown costumes to be found, unless you know somebody who can make one for you, or you can make your own. Still, even if you do manage to make one or have one made, or perhaps even find a store that's still selling them, there's a good chance if you dress up as a clown and go anywhere near trick-or-treaters or Halloween parties, you might get arrested or have something worse happen to you. Now, given that there is this great clown panic, I like to believe that I'm managing to stay perfectly fucking calm, even if there are fucking clowns chasing ordinary fucking citizens with big motherfucking knives. How is this that people like me are able to stay perfectly fucking calm in such a situation? It's actually very simple. I own a gun. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So those of you who think it's funny to dress up like clowns and stalk people with your big-ass knife, you might want to stay away from my house, and probably off my road for that matter, because I'm not the only person on my road who owns a gun. Nearly all of my neighbors are armed too. And they keep and bear arms to such a degree that makes me look like a gun control advocate. Before you go out tonight stalking and scaring the shit out of innocent people who don't necessarily observe their Second Amendment rights, first, get a grip. This isn't The Purge. Now, I happen to love that film franchise. I've seen all 3 films. But we don't need that shit in real life. Stay away from my door. Your knife, no matter how big it is nothing against a Remington. You have to be a whole lot closer to me to do any damage than I have to be to you. I don't know why you do it. Maybe you were abused as a kid. Maybe you were neglected, bullied. Maybe you just weren't hugged enough. Maybe you are just a fuck-up who needs meds, therapy, an exorcist, or perhaps fitted with nudicles. They're prosthetic testicles that they put on neutered male dogs. They are a real thing. Look it up. I'm dead serious. Either way, you show up at my place, or at my neighbor's place, or even on my road, dressed in a clown suit, wielding a knife, trying to look oh so scary. One of us is going to show you what scary is. Have a nice day. I'm going to say something incredibly controversial here, and I'm probably going to piss some dog lovers off in the process. Look, I hate to be the one to break this to you if you're a dog lover. Oh, who the fuck am I kidding? There's a fairly good chance you need to hear this. Contrary to what I've been falsely accused of at times by dog lovers, I don't actually hate dogs. I will admit, I'm not fond of them. Especially dogs that are disrespectful of my personal space. Which, let's be honest, it's not all or even most dogs as a general rule. But quite a few dogs are not trained to respect the personal space of strangers. You don't tell your kids to just walk up to strangers and start nosing at them or touching them or hugging them or talking to them at random, now do you? So, why does the dog get a free pass? I see memes on Facebook all the time, some by good friends, who post things like, I'm suspicious of people who don't like dogs, but I trust a dog who doesn't like a person. This statement is somewhat true. I may not be a dog lover, but I do know that some dogs are a good judge of character. As a case in point, when I was growing up, we had a Cocker Spaniel Poodle mix, who, one day, we were parked with the family van at a service station where a friend of the family owned the service station at the time. An older man came up to the car. It was just myself, my sister, and the dog in the car. And all of a sudden, the dog just goes totally fucking apeshit, growling, barking. My sister had to pull on the back of his collar to keep him from biting the man. And we later found out from the family friend that the older man who came up to the car was a pedophile. Okay, so fine. Dogs can be a good judge of character, and they seem to be able to sense a legitimate sex offender right away. I'm not necessarily referring to the kind of sex offender who was 18 with a 17-year-old boyfriend or girlfriend whose parents didn't approve of the relationship. I mean, people older than me who actually fuck children, like 6, 7, 10-year-olds. They need to die, but that's a whole different episode of the show, and believe me, there's going to be an episode where I rant about pedophiles, but for now we're talking about dogs and dog lovers and dog guardians or owners or whatever you want to call them. So to get back to the topic, getting back to the meme that people post today of being suspicious of people who dislike dogs. Well, not everybody who dislikes dogs is a bad person. Not everybody who likes dogs is a good person. This pedophile guy was going on about how he loved dogs and had 3 of his own, and by the way, he actually did have dogs of his own. About a year ago, I modified the I'm suspicious of people who don't like dogs meme, and I changed it so it would say, I'm suspicious of people who are judgmental toward people simply because they don't love dogs, but I still trust a dog who doesn't like a person. Totally true in my case. I lost about 5 Facebook friends over this, which it's going to happen. If you express a view on any topic on Facebook, you are going to lose friends at some point. There are people who simply cannot handle your right to free speech, and the only way they can deal with it is to express their right to freedom of speech by not associating with you anymore, which you totally have the right to do with them if they say something that incenses you and makes your blood boil. Again, I'm getting off topic here. I'm not a dog lover. I never will be a dog lover. This is something I know about myself, and you can be as judgmental of me as you want. It's not going to change who I am. However, many of the issues that I do have with dogs are not so much about the dog itself as they often are about the dog's owner, or if you would prefer me to say, the dog's guardian. Look, I don't care how cute you think your dog is, and I'm not the only one. There's nothing you can do that is going to make everybody love your dog in all situations. Deal with it. Not everybody wants to be licked in the face by something that just licked its scrotum or butt 5 seconds ago. That said, though, if you do treat your dog like a member of the family, shouldn't you hold your dog to the same standards as any other member of the family? Now, if you're one of those people who insists your dog is a member of the family and has free reign over your home, that's fine. If I'm a friend of yours and I visit your home and I know you have a dog and feel this way, I'm accepting that to a point by visiting. If your dog normally sits on your couch, I'm not going to make him get off the couch simply because I'm there. Conversely, if I choose not to sit on the couch because you let your dog sit on your couch, that is also my right. And those of you who post online saying things like, I'm not going to put my dog in the garage simply because I have visitors, this is actually good that you're being honest about this. It helps those who are not as enthusiastic about dogs make informed decisions about what to expect when they come to visit you. Make decisions like wearing something old or inexpensive that doesn't have to be dry cleaned to come visit you, opt not to sit on the furniture, or whether to even come to your house parties in the first place. However, if your dog is treated like a member of the family, I would assume, and it would be reasonable of me to assume, that you should hold your dog to the same standards as you would hold a member of the family. Would you allow your spouse, significant other, kids, or other people living in your home to hump a guest's leg or to sniff that guest's crotch or ass? Somehow I doubt it. So, if, as you say, your dog is a member of the family, shouldn't he or she be held to the same fucking standards? Now we come to when you're out in public with your dog. And in public, it becomes even more important for you and your dog to respect the space of other people, whether or not they love dogs or would rather be left alone by your dog. If you're going to bring your dog out in public, there are a few things you need to understand and accept, unless you're an inconsiderate prick who gives other, more responsible dog lovers and dog guardians a bad name. Number 1. Spare us the cop-outs. Not only can dog lovers be incredibly intrusive on other people's space against their will, many resort to the default cop-out defense of, oh, he's not going to hurt you. Okay, if I'm out in public and somebody's dog is coming toward me, I'm aware that the dog is not going to hurt me. However, if you're of the mindset that dogs should be treated like people, even though they're not people, then you have to hold your dog to the same standard that you would hold people to. I wouldn't let a strange person nose at my leg or hump it or jump on me either. Keep your fucking dog under control. Number 2, don't take your dog inside places that specifically don't allow dogs. Usually you can tell they have, in the US anyway, a big sign with a picture of a silhouetted dog with a circle and a slash around it. You would be surprised how many people with dogs blatantly ignore signs on storefronts prohibiting pets except for service animals. Now, a person with a service animal has a legitimate reason to have a well-trained service dog in any establishment with them, and if you don't let a blind person in, for instance, because they have a service dog with them, you're just a fucking asshole. I'm no longer surprised at people who blatantly disregard no pets policies because I've worked retail in my life. A sign on the door that says no pets does not mean, in the case of people with little dogs, bring the dog in anyway and put the dog in the child seat of the cart. I actually witnessed a situation where a little chihuahua fell through one of the leg holes to her death. Nobody should ever have to see that just because of an irresponsible pet guardian. It also does not mean to bring your fucking 115-pound pit bull in on a leash, and then when the store manager politely advises you of the policy and asks you to take the dog outside the store because he's scaring another customer, to start screaming segregation and discrimination. Dogs are not people. I'm going to be blunt here. They are not people. They do not have the same rights as people. Dogs are never going to get the vote, short of major medical breakthroughs giving them the mental capacity to be able to comprehend things like politics. I know of a situation from when I worked retail at a home improvement store of a man who walked into the store with his 115-pound golden retriever, no leash, no control. The dog had muddy paws, and first thing he did when he got into the store was walk up to a woman who happened to be wearing a $400 dress and jump on her. Now, I know some of you are going to say, why would somebody wear a $400 dress to a home improvement store? That's not the problem here. The store had a clearly stated no pets except service animals policy. The woman had a reasonable right to expect not to be jumped on by a dog with muddy paws. I'm not saying you have to leave your dog in your car on a 100-degree day. In fact, you should absolutely never fucking do that. But is it too much to ask that you plan ahead? Maybe consider leaving the dog at home when you go shopping, where he or she has food, water, toys, the comforts of home, and additionally provides you with the security of being a deterrent to criminals who might break into your fucking house while you are away. Because yes, people do break into houses in the daytime, or if you're like me and work a third shift paycheck job and you do your shopping at stores that are open at 2 in the morning, you're even more likely to be a target of criminals. Unless one of the other occupants of the house has a 15-pound Jack Russell with a bark like a fucking foghorn. Number 3. We get it. You love your dog. Everybody else doesn't have to, and everybody else isn't going to. You can't change that. Accept it, respect their space, and move on. There's a saying. Religion is like a penis. It's perfectly fine to have one. It's perfectly fine to be proud of it. But when you start shoving it in other people's faces against their will, it becomes a problem. The same is true of your dog. It's fine to have a dog. It's fine to love dogs. It's fine to love your dog. When you force your dog on other people in public spaces, disrespecting their space against their will, you become part of the problem instead of the solution. Number 4, finally, quit the judgmental crap, okay? There was a sketch on Mad TV which actually illustrates the extremes of some dog lovers perfectly. It's a woman with a shitload of dogs who's trying to talk her husband off of a window ledge in a high-rise apartment, I would assume. She repeatedly walks away from him to check on the multiple dogs. I believe they're Pomeranians. And they've just got total free fucking run of the kitchen. They're on the counter, they're on the table, they're all over the floor. There's gotta be like 25 fucking dogs here. I didn't really even try to count. And I admit, I kind of laughed at the sketch a little bit. Until the very end, when he tells her that the reason he's wanting to kill himself is because of all the fucking dogs. He's just not a dog person. And she shoves him off the ledge. Dog lovers marvel at this sketch as being funny. It's on YouTube, you can find it. It's actually kind of interesting to watch, but apparently murdering people who don't agree with you about loving dogs is hilarious. Not really. The rest of the sketch was pretty good, though. Kind of accurate, there are dog lovers who literally put their dogs above everybody else. Who fucking knew? People who aren't dog lovers don't judge you, as a general rule, for being a dog lover, provided you just give us our space. Don't judge us for not being dog lovers. Again, and I know this is starting to sound like rhetoric, but just because you love dogs doesn't mean everybody else has to also. It doesn't make someone a bad person if they don't love dogs, as long as they don't hurt dogs or torture them. It's their right not to be a dog lover, just as it is your right to be a dog lover. A lot of times I feel like I've engaged in battle of wits with unarmed people, or the kind of people who will bring a knife to a gunfight, or more like, sometimes it even feels like, fella, you just brought a metal knife to a metal nuclear missile fight. I really don't even debate people on things unless I am extremely well versed on it, and this sometimes pisses people off because if you debate me on certain topics that I have done a lot of research on, and you're hitting me up with anecdotes or quotes from 3,500-year-old books that weren't even written in the language you speak, because the language you speak didn't even exist yet when they were first written. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against religion. But if you're going to debate me on these things, you have to come at me with better than this. Because in that same 3,500-year-old book, there are things that you are more than likely doing that are also in transgression against other laws within that book. You can't cherry pick people. If you're going to hide behind one 3,500-year-old quote to support a particular view, but then you're going to turn around, go to Wendy's or something and order a fucking Baconator in the same day, I'm going to call you out on it.